experts are saying the very same thing your sources are saying, my sources are saying. Of course, my DHS source is saying, look, we are working. There are some people here are working to stop this, to throw a monkey wrench into this, into the workings. I know that we don't have a whole lot of information, but we do know the operational guidelines and operational tactics of DHS. That said, we know what we can possibly do when the time comes. We'll know it when we see it, and we're going to try to act accordingly to mitigate whatever it might be. So there is hope. And as you said, if nothing happens, well, people can say, boy, it was Doug Hagman. He's a Looney Tune. Well, okay, consider over the last 8 years, or even the last.
No, I hear you. We got to go to break. But if it does happen, then they'll try to spin it as well. But at least you did what you needed to. The Financial Times of London article was Obama faces growing credibility crisis, and in it, Robert Shapiro, White House advisor, is quoted as saying the stuff about a new Oklahoma City 9/11. And there's also videos on the news breaking it down. Just type that in, and you will get it. And Paul Watson also wrote an article about it with the quotes in that.
Radio Network.
All right, here is one example of more than 9. I was counting them up during the break that I could just find during the break. 9 TV shows, letters, public statements. Obama faces growing credibility crisis. Robert Shapiro quoted Financial Times of London. Here's the quote. This is one of 9 times. Every time I search this, I find new ones I didn't know about. The bottom line here is that Americans don't believe in President Obama's leadership, says Rob Shapiro, another former Clinton official and supporter of Obama. Yeah, he's an advisor. He has to find some way between now and November of demonstrating that he is a leader who can command confidence. And short of a 9/11 event or in Oklahoma City, I can't think of how he can do that. Now, they go further, other advisors saying they're going to blame it on us. And we played those clips in the last hour. And we're talking right now to the head of the Northeast Intelligence Network, Doug Hagman. He's on with us right now. Doug, you got cut off because these are hard breaks when they're, the satellites fire at a certain time. Last time I had Salente on, people made not Salente, but others made a fake controversy that he was starting to get into a subject. And I go, got to go to break. I mean, they're hard-coded at, we come in at 8 after, go out at 20 after, go out at 30 after, come in at 33, go out at 50, 1, come back at show. Here we are, we got about 6 minutes right now, 5 minutes right now, then we're going to break at the end of the hour. That's a conspiracy too. No, this is the real conspiracy, what's happening. You were trying to talk about how, hey, if it doesn't happen, they can say, oh, Doug Hagman's wrong. You didn't get to finish, so restate what you were trying to say, that thought.
Well, just to expand upon what you said earlier, and I think this is so important, I think really people have to understand this, is that, the more sunshine, the more disinfectant we can pour on these plans, and whatever we can shine, whatever light we can shine on these plans, it helps to mitigate, to offset, and to upset their plans.
There's a reason Homeland Security in a 4-year document is spying on Infowars.com in this show, and they're worried about our reports about false flags. Isn't that interesting that they're really looking at that?
When I saw that, Alex, I looked at that and I thought, wow, really what's behind this? What would be their motivation? And again, now you were named specifically, I believe when we talked before, you were named as a subject of Infowars, Prisonplanet, Alex Jones. Your entire enterprise was named as a surveillance subject, a subject of surveillance.
Yeah, and it said basically that I'm kind of a terrorist and I'm an extremist and I'm dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wondered why. I mean, I was thinking, well, wait a minute. Is it that? Exactly why? What are we talking about here? And Alex, I think that you're right on the money with this. I do believe that you're getting very close when you talk about false flags and the government involvement in this, because people like me, just a few years ago, man, I thought it was nuts. I didn't believe this, but now, again, you're convincing a lot of people.
Well, it's not just me, though. It's the facts coming out. How bad does it hurt the globalists that they're getting caught in things like Fast and Furious?
Look, it's a game changer. But you also see too with Fast and Furious, you've got a U.S. attorney that won't pursue the criminal contempt and civil contempt charges against Holder. You know, what do you do? And see, this is another thing that my source did tell me. They've got the perfect arrangement right now. They've got the guy in the Justice Department, Eric Holder, on their side, a red diaper baby, right along with Obama and Jarrett and all these people. So this is the perfect time to go through and to implement.
Well, yeah, that's the word from people I know that are really well connected who know Romney's bad news. They say, look, at least it rearranges the chairs. Obama's got his criminal syndicate in there. If he gets back in, he's never leaving because he won't be facing re-election. It takes these presidents time to get their power structure in. We need to reshuffle the deck just to get the whole system confused.
You are listening.
All right, Steve Quayle's coming up in the next segment, finishing up with Doug Hagman of the Northeast Intelligence Network, private investigator. And you can visit his website, HomelandSecurityUS.com, HomelandSecurityUS.com. Got about 5 minutes left here, Doug. We were just getting into the fact that, yeah, Fast and Furious is a game changer. The documents came out. They did it to blame the Second Amendment. That's even on CBS News. So it is a game changer, but now nothing can even be done. They're just sitting there. That's why they'll probably even have election fraud. Not that I think Romney's good, but I don't think, I mean, he's more of a globalist with white gloves on. With Obama, you're dealing with like, you know, absolute Chicago mafia type stuff where they are nasty, nasty, nasty. And again, I'm not saying stuff won't get even more hellish with Romney, but probably will. But I don't see Obama going anywhere. I mean, is that what your source is getting at? Is they're going to pull some chicanery?
Exactly. And that's, boy, that is so key, Alex. I'm glad you mentioned that because what my source said, there are too many people, and I'm looking at my notes here, almost trying to quote him. There are too many people who want a seat and are guaranteed a seat at the Obama table, that if he loses, they would lose that seat. That they obviously want to work overtime to ensure that Obama does not remains in the White House, I should say. That's the key. That's the objective here. We do know, of course, that you've got the different side of the coin, that being Mitt Romney, ultimately answering to the same higher powers. But with Obama, you've got, look at it this way, you've got a straight interstate highway going right to the objective. With Romney, you might have a little detour and kind of a more scenic route to the same destination.
A more scenic route to hell.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and yeah, but that's, you know, with Obama, you've got the Holder Justice Department that's not going to change if Obama stays, and you've got all of these people with the again the anti-Second Amendment people, and as you mentioned before, and people have to understand the amount of ammunition. Just to put this in perspective, could fill 63 Olympic-sized swimming pools. This is just under the Obama administration. 63 sized Olympic swimming pools, 5 on average, 5 bullets.
This is more than, exactly, 5 bullets per person.
Right. So something is up. I mean, obviously something is up. Now, the argument on the other side is, well, they've always ordered ammunition. No, they haven't. This shot up after 2004.
Yeah, they've never even ordered, I looked it up, they've never ordered 10% of this in a year.
Exactly. So, you know, and again, you know, Steve Quayle, his sources, exactly the same information, or relatively the same information, different sources, but the same.
We've had police call up that I later talked to, but I confirm are officers breaking down, crying on air because they've been told martial law in September. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but they're talking about calling in the military, calling in airstrikes on citizens. I mean, what are they? Man, I'm freaked out. I mean, I hope there's some way to turn this around. In closing, did your source think this could be turned around? Obviously, kind of in a way, he came to you, so he wants it to get out there.
Yeah, and he said the only way, in his mind, the only way that this could be turned around is through extensive exposure. On the other hand, there are some patriots within the federal government and at various, in the rank and file, obviously the rank and file, but various mid-level departments who are working, who know what's going on, and they're attempting to change things, the oath keepers, so to speak. So, there is a possibility.
Well, Doug, we're going to get Steve Quayle up, but I know he's got some announcements to make, but I want to hold you there because I want to ask Steve if he's got any questions or comments for you. You're very polite to stay with us. Steve Quayle of stevequayle.com coming up. Boy, he sounded wild 15 years ago talking about this stuff. Now it's happening. Joining us for the rest of the hour here on this Wednesday, the 29th day of August 2012, is Steve Quayle, talk show host, best-selling author. You've written Blueprint for Survival, Investment Perspectives on Precious Metals, and so many others. But I remember him talking about chimeras and cross-species clones 15 years ago and going, yeah, right. And now it's mainstream news. So one area, though, where you can't debate with him is he's been 100% accurate saying foreign troops, Russians, others were training out in Colorado and places, and now it's mainstream news. Russian special forces, Russian aircraft practicing fighting terrorists in America. That was in the Associated Press 2 days ago. We can put that, guys, type that in. People won't believe it. People watching on prisonplanet.tv, for radio listeners, I want to get the exact headline. It's like Russian Air Force to fight terrorists and drill in America. I mean, it's so crazy how they're just acclimating us. And it doesn't mean they're going to come get us tomorrow. It's this global government. It's the military being told, you're under NATO and UN command now, and Congress being told, sit down, shut up, by the Joint Chiefs and the chairman and Obama in open letters. It's the announcements on CNBC that we've been taken over by foreign banks and we're slaves to a global government. Those are quotes. You've heard me play it probably 50 times. In the last few months, hundreds of publications announcing, we're under a world government. It's authoritarian for your own good. That's the Financial Times of London right there with the Bilderberg Group member saying that. There's Cyber News Service, CNS News. Russian Americans take part in joint Air Force counter-terror drill. See, there you go. I mean, it's all getting Twilight Zone right now. It's all getting Twilight Zone because they want to just suspend disbelief, get everybody's normalcy bias going, where we'll put up with anything, like the TSA, fishing around in our wives' and children's underwear. I mean, it is amazing what we'll put up with. Now we have Obama people on Hardball, on other shows saying we need new shootings, we need new bombings. This will help get Obama reelected. I played those clips in the first hour. We have all these quotes about a new terror attack to be blamed on our enemies will save us. They don't say they're going to do it, but they leave 1 degree of saying they're going to do it. They're like, gee, a terror attack would sure help, and don't worry, one's coming. So now we've got Mr. Hagman's source that fits in with my police sources, and my Homeland Security sources are too scared to talk to me now. They say everything's surveilled. I mean, I've got to go meet somebody in a field if I want to, and that's too dangerous because somebody could be posing as some of my sources. I've got them in state police, FBI, Justice Department, federal marshals. In the old days, it was